What's up, YouTube? I just realized I accidentally left the... That is so funny. That is so funny, guys. Welcome over to YouTube. The going live, I guess, ends and goes into... what do you call... That was funny. That was funny. That was an old Twitch stream with me and one of my good roommates from college, where we held a live DJ session for my gaming stream. Actually did really well. It was really cool. We made like $1,000 that day or something ridiculous. Oh, this is my phone, not the screen. So TikTok, guys, we're going over to YouTube here, guys. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines live show, guys. Unfortunately, that was definitely an interesting intro, but hey, we're here for it. Guys, thank you for smashing those like buttons and coming in today. Lots to break down. Okay, we have RFK announcing a historical moment in his presidential campaign. That is a historical moment for Bitcoin, and we do need to discuss. We're going to be going over a little bit about what's taking place in the Middle East, what it means for commodities, what it potentially means for oil prices. Obviously, guys, oil prices are screaming higher today, but stock markets are looking to recover just a little bit as we've been live. So we're going to be breaking into some liquidations. We're going to be breaking into Bitcoin charts, and then obviously your crypto news. And we do have a big update here for decentralized science. So those of you that have been following DeSci with me, and I've been teaching you guys about the not historical, but the major breakthroughs in decentralized science, what it means to decentralize the industry. There's two things I hate in the world, and that is gonna be the military industrial complex and big pharmaceutical companies. There's obviously a lot more than that, but we talk about those a lot on this channel. So look at the market today, guys. Bitcoin sitting at 27,500. And let me make sure the audio levels are good. They do look pretty good here for you guys. So Bitcoin sitting at 27,589. Ethereum down a little bit to $1,578. We have BNB falling now to $206, which we need to be very cautious with. I'm going to pull up BNB's chart right here. You could see that it broke down to 202 today. And I'm very cautious with BNB. I sold all of my BNB. I'm not touching Binance. In fact, I think Binance is going to drop drastically. Here, if it does not hold the 180 right here, this is the last area of support before, I mean, it's an immediate drop to like 130 if you're just looking at your supply and demand levels. And so I'm just not the biggest fan of Binance. I don't know if all of you guys watching are, if you guys are huge advocates for CZ. I think Binance does way too many sketchy things in terms of the proof of reserves, to doing exactly what our military industrial complex is, which is obviously owning the media and pushing narratives. Binance owns CoinMarketCap, and they advocate themselves of some massive, secure, best exchange that exists, the safest one that's out there. And in all reality, they actually own that service. So already, owning, quote unquote, the mainstream media news of crypto. But there's been so many things that I've covered in the past over just the ties to Binance. And I don't necessarily believe, guys, that Binance is going to collapse. I am not that person. That's not what I'm saying here. But if we look through the history of what's happened with Binance getting pushed out of the United States, we see the history of Paxos, which issued BUSD, their stablecoin, closing down to just 1 year later launch a publicly traded stock, PayPal's stablecoin. It's very clear that the U.S. wanted Binance out of the United States. And for that reason, I believe the United States is going to try to suck up more and more liquidity. So I've moved away from Binance personally, and I do think that they're going to see some more downside unless markets see some significant change here in the coming months, which we're probably going to get another interest rate hike, guys. I mean, definitely with the inflation coming out of the news today, which we'll get to in just a second. When we're looking at Bitcoin's price here today, guys, you can see Bitcoin is struggling to maintain the support level I've been showing you guys on the daily here on Signals, which is going to be at 27,600. We can see at 27,600 that we have this naked point of control. It's right now battle testing that. And if it does break through this or this support, we are probably going to get a little bit of downside action here on Bitcoin moving into the coming days. If you're on the daily, you can see that we did drop down we bounced off the 20-week EMA at 27,200. This obviously was a very clear liquidation grab, but what I want to show you guys is on Signals. If we're looking at our historical data, and this actually broke just a little bit, I don't know, he needs to reset this. Unfortunately, let me see if he's fixing it right now. There he goes. Okay, so you can see, look how much liquidation, guys. Look at, and this is K16MA on YouTube. I really recommend you guys use this chart. It's awesome to watch. I've actually been with you guys this last week, all last week. If you guys go back to each stream, we called the movements perfectly, and it's just following liquidations, because the one thing you can trust in a very low volume based market is market makers are just going to be moving prices between two major supply zones and absorbing the liquidity from the traders that exist within the market. And so we could see that the 26,900, 27,100 area, there's a massive amount of longs that are going to be liquidated at that point now. We do see a significant amount of shorts starting to stack up at about 28,500. But what I want you guys to pay attention to here, okay, guys, is going to be the fact that even though we have a massive amount of liquidations now below us, where I do think market makers will suck that liquidity within the next, maybe it could be day, could be 2 days, we really want to pay attention to this 30K level where those liquidations are starting to stack up. Those are signs that we could be getting ready to see a short squeeze to the upside. But we do need to wipe out more liquidity below us before I believe we do move higher. And when we're looking at this 27,500 right now, again, that naked point of control, let me go to the 4 hour here, and maybe I can give you guys a better justification on the charts that you see on the 4 hour daily. I'm not going to go into the 15 minute. Obviously, guys, I'm looking for a macro perspective, at least over the next few days. But here's the 4 hour chart for you guys. Again, we're hovering at this major naked point of control. The point of control on the 4 hour, at least for the last few days, is at 28,000, but it's showing some serious signs of resistance. So we could get a little bit of a bounce or a move down to this 200-day EMA on the daily, which would be about 27,000. I would not be at all alarmed, especially now that we see the MACD starting to turn over. The RSI is, well, we can actually probably draw this out. It's probably testing major resistance right here. The daily could be falling a little bit further. MACD did bottom out on the 4 hour. Right now, it's looking to see this 50-week EMA showing some signs of resistance. Again, that's where I'd be paying attention to. So, moving into the news for today, and then we'll come back to charts and answer questions from the chat. Shout out to everybody in here. Ewan, True, what's up, man? How you doing? Yo, what's up, James? How you doing, brother? We got Waysum. Guys, I'll take the Q&As in just a moment. Evan, I'll answer your Floki questions and everything on the Q&A aspect in just a little bit. But much love to you guys for being here on YouTube. Thank you for all the support, guys, especially for TikTok, everybody coming over. Links in the bio if you guys are on TikTok watching this from another stream. We are progressing and moving towards YouTube so you guys can see the charts, see the screens, and everything like that. So appreciate all of you guys for being here. The first big news I want to talk about today is going to be a major breakthrough in VitaDAO. This is going to be, they just launched and kickstarted their first funded project for a biotech company called Matrix Bio. Now, something I teach you guys in crypto is stop treating crypto like a completely separate industry than, Wall Street. It is the same corruption. It is the same money. It's the same Silicon Valley representatives. It's the same Silicon Valley employees. And it's all the early on Silicon Valley employees moving to another cycle and grabbing more liquidity out of markets on in a global way. And so for you guys that don't know, okay, Vita is backed by Pfizer. They received, I believe, a $500,000 investment. And this is where you have to follow that money, play that mindset. Who always wins? Well, if you look through Ethereum's history and watch our video on Cryptos R Us, where I break down who funded, the Ethereum Foundation was very clearly the CCP, a lot of the ties in JP Morgan, and then moving into the SEC and MIT into 2018, right? Follow the money. And the money shows that it is coming to decentralized science. And so they just launched, their community just launched the first ever funded biotech firm. They raised they seeded it with $300,000 and future funding via IP NFT fractionalization. The biotech firm aims to revolutionize treatments for cancer and aging-related diseases, leveraging research into naked mole rats. This is really cool, and something I'm going to be doing on my channel here, guys. I'm in talks with Singularity. I can't promise too much that's coming out of that just yet, but I would love to be able to bring you guys not only these interviews on the ground, but I don't want to just do where I break down websites and I tell you which cryptos I think are going to pop off. I want to meet with these scientists. I want to go to the Naked Mole Rat facility. I want to see how in real time they're, discovering these through these clinical trials or these scientific collaborations, how they're addressing that, putting that on chain and using this data in real time. I'm going to be showing you guys that on my Joshua Jake channel. And I'm really excited for that here in the future. But this is a big breakthrough, guys. This is the first, again, more funding still coming in. They're still receiving funding in a bear market. Decentralized science is going to be huge. And again, guys, if you didn't know, Vitalik Buterin is like 100% behind this DAO. He's very much involved with them. The Ethereum Foundation has an entire page on their own Ethereum Foundation website for decentralized science. And he actually invited Vita DAO to, I don't know if it's Vita or Vita. I just say both just so, whatever, we'll correct it one day. He invited them out to Zuzulu. So huge breakthroughs there. Next up, we have Cardano Hoskinson coming out and saying that SBF is getting a free pass for the media, and this shows massive levels of corruption. I think this is all new. I don't need to dive into Sam Bankman-Fried. He has so many ties to donating to different political parties. It just goes more to show that the industry is corrupted. The reason why I have this up here, guys, FTX, SBF, everything that was brought up around that was 100% driven by corruption, both in the US and outside of it. And this is where I keep saying, guys, follow the money. Stop caring about the word decentralization. Decentralization is a masquerade. It's a marketing tool driven by Silicon Valley to promote to you something that isn't a solution to fractional banking. It's a cure. This is allowing them to access global liquidity in an unregulated way for the same markets and products that may not need a utility token, but are just wrapping their services in a token so that way they can ICO and raise money in a new way. SBF was a huge reason for this. He donated a ton of dark money to both political parties and even got in trouble for offering Donald Trump, I believe, $5 billion to not run for presidency. Yes, that's happened, right? So, SBF getting a free pass from the media, I think it's obvious, guys. He's in bed with them. So looking at your stocks here, guys, today we have the Dow Jones, S&P up now, finishing the day just a little bit. You can see the Dow rises more than 200 points in major turnaround as Wall Street shakes off the Israel-Hamas war. Now, for you guys that don't know about this, I do really recommend you guys go on Twitter. Twitter probably has the best source of information because it's got a lot less censorship, and see just the reality behind what's going on within the conflict. Please don't be that person that changes your profile picture to a flag and then immediately start supporting something that you have no understanding of or a historical reference of. So you just be very cautious with this. The reason why I'm saying that is you have people like Nikki Haley, who is a presidential candidate and should not be, because she is somebody who profits directly off conflict. She's part of the military-industrial conflict. In fact, I did bring her up here. This is a great story done on her by Li Fang, who faces a lot of repercussion, or just a lot of controversy because of the stories that he writes. But Nikki Haley sudden wealth rooted in weapons industry, pro-war advocacy network. This is somebody who's a candidate for the Republican Party, and it's both parties, guys. I'm very nuanced in this application, but she's somebody that's advocating for pretty much genocide taking place in the Middle East because of she believes that all people connected to Hamas are terrorists. And so when you see these things running through our media, be very careful of Western propaganda and be very careful of Eastern propaganda. Try to realize both parts of the story. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because it's going to lead into Iran, which we need to talk about the Strait of Hormuz in just a second. I'm going to bring up a map and explain what it means if they were to shut that down for oil in the U.S. But it just sucks to see people turning this into a political stunt rather than actually caring about the people that are, dealing with the impact of this in their everyday lives. And again, we're going to keep religion state out of this and move into oil. And I will be dropping videos on this, but separately. It's not for this live stream. So before we get into the oil, the biggest announcement of today's stream, guys, the title of this stream, which is a huge historical moment for Bitcoin, is going to be Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Deciding to run for president as an independent because this is the first primary candidate now to be pro-Bitcoin ever that is running for the election. Now, whether or not you like RFK or not, if you think he's a conspiracy theorist or not, I actually do like a lot of his policies. I don't agree with a lot of the ones he's done with Israel and Palestine for an example, but in terms of crypto adoption, he is very pro-Bitcoin. He's anti-military industrial. He's anti, big pharmaceuticals, which probably isn't going to be very bullish for his campaign in a sense, but this is a huge moment for Bitcoin. We're seeing more advocacy since he understands. He talks about BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. and breaks down how the US dollar is failing. And if we don't stop things like the BRICS narratives and how they're progressing with the Belt and Road Initiative, this is going to be a threat against the US dollar. And so this would be huge for Bitcoin as a whole. This isn't a campaign ad or anything, guys. It just goes to show that Bitcoin is being more adopted and people are realizing the power of it as it's a hedge against inflation. We have the Bitcoin halving coming up in just 6 months, which is the opposite of the US dollar. The US, guys, the United States, when you see war, realize who's funding these wars. These are proxy wars for larger nations. Who's funding the Hamas? Who's funding Israel? Who created the Iron Dome, right? This isn't these two sovereign nations. This is heavily funded, but if you go back to 1917, from the British, the French, all the way up to the United States, to recently to where we are today. And then on the back end, you have obviously as well as Russia and China. So, realize the bigger picture here and what this means for the future of the dollar. More or less, it means more money printing, right? That is where all roads lead to. And so this is the opposite of the US dollar. This is a halving, which actually destroys the inflationary intake for Bitcoin every 4 years. And this is why you have people like CZ. Let me pull up CZ's announcement right here. Again, going back to Binance, believes that we're going to see multiple all-time highs likely after the 2024 Bitcoin halving. And I 100% agree with this. Again, I don't see eye to eye with a lot of things CZ does, but the Bitcoin halving is extremely bullish in the 4-year cycle in the grand scheme of things. Are we going to get a bull run the size of 2021? We very well might not. I would like to say, even though the worst thing you can say is that this time will be different, this time is different. Bitcoin is in a high interest-based environment. We have multiple conflicts going on worldwide. We have inflation running rampant. We have $1.25 trillion in debt that we're going to have to pay off from the U.S. just off interest payments alone. That means when the U.S. prints money, it's not going to be going to consumer pockets this time. It's going to be paying back our own debts for the wars that we have caused through the military-industrial. Wow, would you look at that, right? Would you look at that? So bullish to a historical moment for Bitcoin, bullish outcome for Bitcoin. Excited to see where we take place from here. To see where we move from here. Now, an interesting article that was released today was Bitcoin ASIC manufacturer Bitmain pausing employee salary payments. Bitmain is one of the largest producers of Bitcoin miners, and they do not have a net positive cash flow at this moment. And being one of the largest Bitcoin miners, manufacturers in the world, this could cause stagnation for the production of more Bitcoin miners coming. It could actually slow that process down. So even at a moment where we see all-time highs in Bitcoin hash rates right here, we just hit a new record this week. I'm very interested. I want to pay attention to this because something I advocate with you guys and teach you guys about is Bitcoin mining and the clean energy assumption and the conversion of wasted energy into a positive net value. And so I've been advocating for this for a very long time. I want to see miner production come to the United States. Even though we had the CHIPS Plan 4 Act passed by the Biden administration that was removing semiconductor production from China into South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, and of course the United States, the two largest manufacturers for semiconductor production for Bitcoin miners are going to come from Bitmain and MicroBT, which are Hong Kong-based companies. And so I've been wanting to see this breakup for a while. I want to see the development come to the States because the reality of this, guys, is if you didn't understand Bitcoin mining and mempools and hash rates, guys, thanks for all the love coming through, all the donations, the likes, and the viewers today. Is Bitcoin mining is incredibly centralized and it's going to become more centralized over time. Now, it can be decentralized to a scale where it's not something to be scared of. It's something to be aware of. That is what I preach on this channel. It's something to be scared of, not something to be scared of, something to be aware of. And what I mean by that is just understand how these mechanisms and these markets work. Bitcoin mining used to be very centralized to China till I believe they shot themselves in the foot and Xi Jinping wanted to support the value of the yuan and decided to ban all mining in China specifically. They still control the manufacturing. And so what does this mean for the future of Bitcoin miners? Well, we've seen BlackRock, we've seen Vanguard, we've seen State Street. They're coming in and purchasing all the largest Bitcoin miners. They're coming in and purchasing all the point of sale systems that will be using Lightning Network and profiting off the transactions of buying and selling goods and services on a national scale. They manage the reserve funds. They're trying to get access to the stable coins. Why is this? This is because with time, The larger miners, whoever has more money, has more power and more control. And so I would like to see that power and that control come to the United States, just because it gives us a better outlook on what the future of that really looks like. It doesn't mean it's going to be completely centralized to the United States. It just means we might control 30 or 33 or 34% of the global hash rate, versus China, which I think is very, very important. And we can get down another rabbit hole, and I'll teach you guys all about what that means in another video. So make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will do an in-depth video on what that looks like and what that means for markets. But I follow the money, right? So if we're following the money, that is what the video will be about, is the money is flowing into Bitcoin miners and the adoption of Bitcoin mining. Hash rates, as you guys can see on the screen, are hitting all-time highs. We have every day, every single week, new Bitcoin energy updates or new massive breakthroughs with miners converting a wasted energy. It is coming and the adoption is here. So pay attention very closely. Last up again is, I meant to cover this in the beginning. Guys, again, shout out, go watch Mario in the fall. I know he's a very controversial figure on Twitter, but if you guys don't know what's happening, again, in the Middle East right now with Palestine and the EU, please, I recommend just going on Twitter. That's probably the best place you're going to be able to get non-biased. You're going to get both biased views, but you also can find a lot more information and understand what's really going on there. Also, Vox has got a great video on YouTube. But the last thing I want to show you guys here is the Strait of Hormuz, okay? So before I take Q&A, this is what we need to, this is what everybody should be watching for. I've covered this countless times on my TikTok with 10-minute videos. A lot of them have gotten banned. And it's very ironic that they have gotten banned. I still have a lot of them up, but you guys know this. We've covered this many, many, many times in our live streams. Is the conflicts. And I'm a very strong advocate against the military-industrial complex and what this means for our markets, because whoever controls this strait essentially controls the production of oil on a global scale. So the Strait of Hormuz, guys, right here is on the coast of Iran, the United Arab Emirates. I did not say Emirates. And then obviously Oman, which has got a huge breakthrough with Bitcoin mining as well. They're investing $1.1 billion into Bitcoin mining infrastructure to convert wasted energy. But so why people are worried about this, I'm not going to be your geopolitical expert that's, predicting this. This is coming from geopolitical an analysts on whether you're on Wall Street Journal, New York Times, any economist. This is the focus right now. This is why markets are up 4% on oil today. Is going to be the fact that if Iran does support the Hamas, they could very well shut down commercial oil in this strait. This strait is less than 20 miles wide, and all it takes is sinking one commercial ship to stop the production and the flow of oil in this region. And this makes up for like the majority. And when I mean majority, it is, I don't remember the numbers. I've covered it a few times in the past. It's definitely over 60%, but a lot of your oil is coming from this sector. So if they were to shut this down, this means oil prices would run rampant. It would force the United States to use all of our reserve oil. It's going to cause the cost of a barrel probably go from the $90 that it is today up to $130 per barrel. It would be devastating for inflation. Okay, the cost of oil is going to increase all the cost of goods, and it's going to cause inflation to go rampant. It's going to cause the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates even more, and it's going to cause us to print more money. All roads lead back to money printing. People that do not believe the United States can print more money, they printed $9 trillion since COVID. In the last 3 years, they've printed $9 trillion, and they can and they will do it again. We are still the dominant reserve currency in the world. There is nothing that comes close. People that thinks BRICS are going to overtake it, over 90% of global trade is transacted within US dollars. The Chinese yuan is like 3% or less, and more unlikely on a decline as they are losing value against the US dollar themselves. And so this is very important to watch. And as we get more information, I'll of course share it with you guys on this live stream. But this could factor, guys, here. This war could factor into the super cycle of commodities that I have talked about with you guys on this channel, where commodities are going to have in Q1. I'm predicting Q1, Q2 2024. I think you're going to see a lot of commodities starting to really change their course for the next decadal commodities-based bull run, which you get historically every 10 to 15 years. You see upwards in stock markets for 10 to 15 years, and then you get upwards in commodities for 10 to 15 years. And there's a lot happening with copper, lithium, of course, oil, lumber, wheat still getting pounded. You have OJ hitting all-time highs, but we'll get to that in another video, and I don't want to go on another tangent. So, guys, I'm going to open up to Q&A here. TikTok, again, you guys want any of your questions answered? I see a lot of questions coming through TikTok. Come support us on, this button keeps undoing every time I go live. Come support us on YouTube, guys. It's Joshua Jake, links in the bio. And we're going to open up to Q&A here and go through some charts with you guys with cryptocurrencies. And of course, guys, if you haven't checked out my decentralized science watch list here, make sure you guys head to my Twitter. It's Joshua Jake on Twitter. I do have the entire decentralized science watch list. This is the first and only DeSci watch list that exists on these markets. I've been covering decentralized science for well over a year and have been the person on top of this industry for you guys with your market updates and your biggest breakthroughs. So check this out. Give that a follow. And I don't own all of these cryptos at all. I have the first ever, though, public watch list for all DeSci tokens. So we have Theo. Wait, Theo, is this Strawberry from TikTok, man? What's up, dude? So let me pull this up. I need to pull it up here because I don't have to look all the way down. I have 1 million Floki. Is that enough to make me a billionaire at the top of the... Ewan, I'm not a fan of Floki at all. I think meme coins, brother, that's a slot machine, man. It's not going to make you a billionaire. I don't think it's going to make you a millionaire, but if you can make a few $1,000 off of it, it might be able to. But it's a meme coin, man. That's literally a shot. It's only a slot machine. There's no utility to it. Are you still bullish on VXV? I am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm bullish on all things DeSci and AI. There's a lot happening in artificial intelligence with AGI. It's going to only get faster. It's only going to get better, and it's going to be this not linear, but it's going to be a parabolic rise, in my opinion, for AI advancements. I think we're at the beginning of AI. AI today is going to look like an iPhone 1 in 15 years, as Sam Altman said on Joe Rogan's podcast. I 100% agree. I think he's a sketchy guy. I think Sam Altman's got a very interesting outlook on reality, but I don't appreciate. But I do agree with him in the sense that this is the way we're progressing. Loving the YouTube live, definitely better than TikTok because we can see your screen. Dude, much love. Yeah, that's why I'm doing it here. TikTok, unfortunately, well, obviously monetization is even better on YouTube. Maybe you should pay attention to that TikTok. But ultimately, we were having too many lag issues with sharing the screen on TikTok. Their TikTok live studio is trash. I'm from Eastern Europe. We have a bearish sentiment. How are you, America? Bearish or bullish? I'm bullish on commodities, bearish on stocks, and risk on assets. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I'm bullish on a lot of crypto. Not all things crypto, but a lot in the crypto side of things, but commodities specifically. I think commodities in Q1, Q2 next year, we are going to be switching on this path where the United States is at a moment where we have to choose between defaulting on our debts and we have to choose printing more money. And with the American oligarchs are always going to choose the latter. They're going to choose to print more money. Why? Because they don't want to ever take responsibility. Nobody in this current administration wants to get up and say, I'm sorry, we fucked up. There's only one candidate that I've seen running, and he's independent, that wants to hold these people accountable. The military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical companies, the wages versus prosperity gap that was created between the state and corporations. In 1971, when Richard Nixon took us off that gold standard, states and corporations started working together instead of separate. We have turned this world into a kleptocracy. Why? Because Western propaganda on TikTok, Google, Facebook, etc. Half of Americans don't even feel like that they can vote. They think their vote doesn't even matter, right? We have this common misconception on everything politics, and it's just it's making things worse and worse over time. And the people that are in leaderships, the elites that exist today, will never and do not want to be held accountable. So, in that sense, I think stocks are going to definitely peak this year, whether we get a Santa rally. And I do think we're going to start moving towards an era of commodity-based driven markets. And that is bullish for crypto. I think Bitcoin's going to follow that specifically, and especially with the Bitcoin halving. Thoughts on Mina Protocol? Mina Protocol, I haven't looked into in a long time, Wasim. But they do have a really cool mechanism that they created with taking pictures of the blockchain in a way that it allows infinite scaling at a way a lot of companies can't. So they have interesting scalability solutions. But to be honest, brother, I have no idea what's being built there. I haven't paid attention to them in probably about a year. So lithium is the best. I love it. Lithium's if people are really bullish on EV, they should really pay attention to lithium's only going to get bigger and bigger. Ever thought about going to law school? You're more resourceful than some I know. Dude, appreciate that comment from TikTok. If I go back to school, to be honest, I don't think I would do, and thank you guys for all the subs on YouTube. Holy smokes. Much love to all of you guys. if I ever went back to school, which I don't think I will, just because I have so many opportunities from developing my brand and I'm being self-taught and I'm getting mentors and everything. To be honest, I think it would go into specifically studying history, and I don't know what I would go into some form of investment markets. And to be honest, by the time I'm 45, I would get into politics on a geopolitical scale, because I think that we lack a massive there's a massive miscommunication within compromising in our democracy. There is no such thing as compromise. It's all disagreeing, and nobody disagrees efficiently. And I think we need change for that, but hold up. So I don't know. I think maybe I would go to law school just so I could be a better debater. I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. Yeah. BXB looking hella cheap right now. It's pretty cheap right now, dude. Do you believe on the Bitcoin halving, and is it time for... Wait. Do you believe on the Bitcoin halving, and is it coming at the time it's supposed to? What do you mean, do I believe in the Bitcoin halving? The Bitcoin halving, what I say for the Bitcoin halving, guys, is don't fall to the... Most influencers, and I don't mean this in a... I mean, I kind of do, and I kind of don't. Most crypto bros that exist out there in these markets, guys, they lack massive amounts amount of information, education, a massive amount of education. They are very low IQ, and that's not me being an arrogant asshole. It's the truth. These people don't know how markets work. They can't even tell you what the capital expenditure is. They can't tell you what a PE ratio is, what a PG ratio is. They don't even know anything about traditional stocks. So when you have people that don't understand anything about traditional stocks, how are they going to come into this industry and tell you that it's different than fucking traditional stocks? They can't. They don't know the differences because they don't even understand how traditional markets work. And that's where you realize if you come from traditional markets, you know crypto is just Wall Street 2.0. It's different financial jargon. There's no difference in most of these assets. They're just wrapping it in a new token that's unregulated, and it's a new way around regulations in the United States. Now, with that said, traditional markets are based off securities laws from the 1930s. We were literally in a Great Depression and at a time where there was barely even radio. We didn't have internet. We didn't have computers. We didn't have AI. And we do need a time for new regulation. And since the 1970s, like I mentioned to you guys, we've seen a massive dilution of... what would be the right word for this is... we've seen a massive separation between the middle class, the poverty, and the elites. And this wage versus prosperity gap has been driven by the fact that large corporations have embedded themselves into our government through lobbying, and it's massively suppressed the middle class and our poverty. So I'm going off on another tangent here. I'm going to answer this question in just a second because I read it. But my point to this is a lot of these people in this industry don't understand. If you don't understand the history of markets, how are you going to sit here and try to act like you can analyze the future of markets? Because analyzing the future is impossible. We can't predict the future. All we have to base our analysis off are historical data points. And if they're not data driven and they don't understand the historical cycle of events, why are you listening to them? And that's where I'm going to end with that. Yes, I make a lot of AI stuff for work. That's awesome. AI is going to be huge. AI, I don't think is going to replace jobs, but people that, if you guys are in a position like graphic designing, video editing, social media management, use AI to your advantage, because if you're learning it now, it's going to make your job way, way better. I mean, you're going to get quicker, you're going to make more money, etc. Is the Bitcoin halving cycle on track? It's on track. Yes, sir. It's on track. Will Cas change the crypto industry? I haven't looked into anything about Caspa, man. I'm going to imagine it's another smart contract protocol. They use proof of work, which I do like. I actually do enjoy that. But I mean, I don't know anything about Caspa, but when you look into Web 5 and stacks and smart contract protocols, why not build on top of Bitcoin? Is the question. So is it going to change the crypto industry? I don't think it's going to change it. Is it going to take advantage of it? Probably, and that could be bullish for Caspa. A lot of people saying quant is an easy 10x. When the masses usually say stuff like this, it never happens. Thoughts? Wazim, you know exactly what's up, brother. The more people you have talking about something generally means run for the hills. But in quant's case, it has something known as pumponomics, and I hate that term. But what pumponomics are is it's a very limited supply, very low supply, and they have a large community. So when there's a large community, a low supply, the marketing around it really moves that price. And so with Gilbert Verdine developing TC307, you guys know the elevator pitch of Quant. It's a product that doesn't necessarily need a token. They're another SaaS model that wrap their service in a crypto itself. But that's where I say, anybody that's advocating for decentralization, just shut up. Like, it doesn't exist in a capitalistic society. If this guy's got good marketing, good connections, he's going to develop, interoperability with financial institutions and global governments for stablecoins and CBDCs. Money can move into there, and all it needs is the right marketing. And so I do think Quant could see a 4 to 5x. I'm not somebody that's looking at this market like this next market to me doesn't scream, hey, we're going to get a 10x or 100x or 50x. There's only one industry and one category that I am that bullish on, and that is decentralized science, because that has traditional money coming into markets as well. It's not just coming from consumers. You have billionaires and, some of the wealthiest pharmaceutical companies in the world that have trillions investing into longevity in decentralized science for these advancements in cures and production. And you see that with Pfizer, right? So I see that. I'm like, okay, money's coming into here, whether you like it or not, and not just based off consumers. Play to earn games, FitFi, all those consumer trends that took off last cycle. We're going to have a utility bull run. What's a utility run mean, right? There's no utility to Quant. It's a SaaS model wrapped in a token. That is the utility of the token. Is that what you mean by utility-based tokens are going to have some massive run? ISO 222 tokens are going to be the future of finance? No. This is the other thing. ISO standards are just financial messaging systems that can be implemented into any chain. So like if a project wants a partner that's going to come on and wants to integrate these standards, great, freaking do it. So that's why I'm saying be cautious. I know, again, another Joshua Jake tangent. But be cautious of the 10x. 10x is a very arbitrary number that people like to just say to pump numbers for monetization for more views. Think of it this way. Whenever somebody goes, oh, there's a 15% chance. Oh, there's a 70% chance Bitcoin's going to hit $500,000 by 2030. Where the hell did that percentage come from? Where's the data that says there's exactly a 15% probability that this is going to happen? That doesn't exist. So when someone says a 500x, a 10x, a 400x, a 1000x, a 50x, a 20, why are they choosing round numbers? And where does that come from? What is the probability around that? Where is the data that they're getting this analysis from and saying, hey, this can 10x? I would just take that into consideration. But anyways, a lot of people saying, I read that one. Have you heard of Virtuous Blockchain? I have not. I had helped my friend do the closed captions for RFK, and it was hard to understand. I had to help my friend do the closed captions for RFK, and it was hard to understand. The closed captions, what do you mean for that? RFK's got a speech impairment issue, but he's chilling. But yeah, unfortunately. But hey, an interesting factor is that every president we've had has had a very weird accent or voice. So there's that. Lithium is not an EV play, to be honest. It's just a battery play. 100% agree. I agree, Theo. I agree. I meant as in when I said the EV play is that most EVs rely on lithium batteries. People are using more and more. Exactly. Do you think the classical stocks and companies are going to represent their shares on decentralized ledgers instead of platforms like New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ? No. I think all of your I think there's going to be a mass adoption of securities in terms of, look, think of it this way. Why would traditional companies want to represent their shares on the ledger, right? In my opinion is, unless they want to, again, they're going to be traditional securities. They're going to be following completely different laws. It's for the asset management companies. It's going to be for the BlackRocks, the Vanguards, and the State Streets. Why? Because when you put a company's structure on the ledger, this is going to make it easier for governance, easier for control, less management fees, and tack on more management service fees. However they want, they're going to profit off this in each and every single way through the governance models on top of those private-based ledgers. I would imagine it's not going to be public-based ledgers. They're going to be very privatized, and it just makes asset management company jobs way easier, and they get to track more and more data at a much larger scale. So I don't think I'm very nuanced on the idea of tokenizing all of our stocks. Tokenizing all of our stocks is going to give more control to asset managers if we're not careful. Why? I mean, why? Yeah, and I don't even have to say why. That's why asset managers like Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is advocating for the securitization or the tokenization of securities. That's why he wants this. What do you use to style your hair? Just water, and I spray it with a little bit of hairspray, man. I just got out of the shower before I got on here. Lithium is not. This is a good time to dollar cost average, as I don't think the dip is going to last long. Dapper, I've been dollar cost averaging since August. I don't try to time the market. Time in the market always beats timing the market. And again, I believe we're going to move to a commodities-based cycle. The question I would ask you is what's the difference between a 27K Bitcoin and a 19K Bitcoin if you truly believe that Bitcoin's inevitably going to reach $100,000 or $200,000, right? I look at it as a store of values. So when you have that perspective, if I have extra capital and I know that the United States is going to print more money, we're continuously going into more and more wars, more and more conflicts. This doesn't even factor in the amount of money that we're probably going to print and give to South Pacific Islands to support Taiwan. This doesn't even factor in that how long is this conflict in Israel going to last with the Hamas, right? Now, obviously, they're going to choke out Gaza, and that's where we're going to see, okay, how many other Middle Eastern countries are going to back them? These are things that we don't necessarily know, but if they do happen, it means more and more money printing. And if we have more and more inflation, oil is going to start rising because, if Iran shuts down the Strait of Hormuz, we're all screwed. I want to hedge myself against that inflation. And all roads lead to more inflation. There isn't a single road where I say, oh, you know what? Our government's going to budget. Congress knows how to budget. I don't see that. And please enlighten me. I would love optimism. I would love good news that our Congress, our politicians are no longer going to represent, corporations and more or less the people and actually do what they're fucking supposed to do and budget. But yes. Guys, let's get him 1 million live views, even on mute. He is, hey, user, much love, man. What else we got? File or Arweave. Hey, by the way, TikTok guys, if you guys want me to see your comments, I'm actually live right now. I'm really trying. If you want to support me, the best way you can support me, guys, for free is come over to the YouTube channel where I do Q&A. I have all the screens pulled up. I have live streams pulled up. And I do your crypto news and your macro news for the day, and then I do Q&A. The best way to support me, guys, right now is obviously coming from my other socials and giving me that subscription, putting on those notifications on YouTube, and really helping us build a community here. I got a lot of great updates coming this week as well as next week. But it means the world to me, guys. Thank you for all the subscriptions, all the lives, all the likes, guys. Thank you for smacking the likes, the comments. You guys are beautiful. Much love to you guys. Do you think when the Bitcoin ETF approvals start flowing in will cause an actual pump or short-term sell the news? So we'll see what's going to happen. What's going to happen is what always happens. Asset managers and financial institutions, this is what takes place, guys. You have to remember this. Our government is corrupted. All of our government branches, you can't evade this. And I don't mean that this happens no matter what in our country, London, Japan, China. This happens globally. But when those get approved and someone on the inside knows that we're about to approve an ETF, all those friends and families are going to call their friends and families and their friends and families and all their friends and families. These are all people that are invested into the same stocks that are making the decisions over what committees, over what regulations take place. All those politicians are going to inside trade. There's going to be manipulation. They're never going to get in trouble. They just don't. They just get away with this, right? And so I would imagine what you're going to see with a spot Bitcoin ETF is very similar to what happened with the gold-based ETF in November of 2004. We're going to get a run-up months before the ETF launches. When you see Bitcoin start breaking 30K, starts breaking 32K, if it breaks 40K, just know a spot ETF is coming. Because if there is no reasons from a macro perspective on Bitcoin to move other than it's just price movement, it's more or less because of something that's about to take place or about to occur. And this is why buy the rumor, sell the news. That's why that's a saying. Because when the spot ETF does release, it might pump for a week or two because Fox News, CNN, all of your media that's controlled by the military industrial and our elitist groups, they're going to pump it up just like they did with the futures-based ETF. Then there's going to be a 30 to 40% drop. Okay, why is there going to be a 30-40% drop? Because all of the insiders and family and friends that bought for months are now going to be up in massive amount of profit. They're going to take that profit, and I would imagine there's going to be a 30-40% dip, and then it will continue to run just like gold did and follow the commodity cycle. But be very cautious of that movement, and you just need to understand that's going to happen. Bitcoin's going to run. The spot ETF is going to cause a rally. I don't know if that means it gets to all-time high off that rally, but I would imagine it's going to get to some significant number, then see a massive dump, and then go reclaim all-time highs sometime after that. That's just because of that's market manipulation at its finest. Is it? And by the way, spot ETFs over the years is going to inject hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars into Bitcoin. Why? Once financial asset managers, guys, release their spot ETFs, guess whose job it is to make money off those ETF? The thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, if not millions, of financial advisors. They're going to be like, hey, you know, the US dollar is being inflated. You want to hedge yourself against inflation? You should purchase Bitcoin spots. You should allocate 1 to 5% of your retirement in this hedge against inflation, right? And they're going to see a lot of money. TikTok, thank you for all the love, all the gifts and the donations. Gas in Sherman Oaks, California. Oh my God. $6.90? Bro, I moved out of California because Gavin Newsom, even though he is probably going to be a president, sucks. But he is the best debater I've probably seen. And DeSantis is going to get wrecked by him. And I'm not pro Newsom whatsoever. He is just the ideal. He is literally, he's good looking. He debates, and he has the connections in his state. Obviously, being the governor of California. But with that said, I left California, dude. The California is ruined. $7 per gallon of that is ridiculous, dude. That is stupid. And then you guys still pay disgusting amount of taxes. You have a homeless crisis like no other. Get out of Cali, bro. If I can recommend one thing, it's get out of California. Go, even if you don't like, Republicans, just go save money as a Democrat in another Republican state, because you're going to make a lot. You're going to spend a lot less on taxes. You're going to save a lot more on groceries, and you're going to save a lot more on your gas and your mortgage payments and your property taxes. Thoughts on pre-search? Hollywood, actually don't have too many thoughts on pre-search. But I do know someone that has a disgusting amount of miners and mines it consistently. That's all I know about it. I know it's a decentralized search engine, I believe. But I've talked to multiple miners that literally run massive amounts of pre-search nodes. Come over to the dark side. Yeah. I will. And let me say this true. I will retire in California, guys. I will retire in La Jolla, California, because it's to this day, I just love it. It's home, and I have the best coffee shop in, well, actually that's Sunset Cliffs, which is going to be on the edge of Point Loma, but I do want to live in La Jolla, but there's so much, it's such a good place. It's such a good place. But you need $4 or $5 million to retire there. So I'm not, actually more than that. You need $4 or $5 million to buy a home. So it's not very realistic, especially with interest rates at 8%, and probably will be 10% by then. I'm feeling an approximate $5 to $6 trillion overhaul market cap next bull run. What do you think? Oh, I would love to see that, Wazim. And I think, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, bro. Correct me if I'm wrong, but appreciate it, man. Just subscribe to Calixo. Guys, thank you for the subscriptions. I have to re-sign in, so I can't see the subs coming in today. But guys, TikTok, thank you for the support. YouTube's killing it. We're restarting it. I'm already at almost 10,000 subs because I got it to 9K when I did gaming forever ago and started early on in crypto. But I completely reset it, and we're live every single day, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. So guys, come say what's up. We have the charts up, everything, and I got some really cool visuals for you guys. Jillian, I stayed on TikTok. You should really attend law school. The environmental and agricultural law field needs you. So Jill, you know exactly what I would love to get into. That's funny. I would love to give you systematic land theft 300. Oh, Jillian, are you the lawyer I followed back? I think I followed you back. I have to text you back, and I would love to read your book. Nice to see you, Josh. As always, miss your Twitter evening podcast. Hey, Johnny, we're here 3 p.m. every single day now, and I am still going on beyond or because Bitcoin every now and then on Twitter, but right now I'm trying to really build the YouTube audience, and obviously with closing down Kryptonite and transitioning, I got a lot of big things coming. So I'm like, let's get this community going, baby. But I will be back on Twitter. How quickly do you think the DeSci space is changing? And particularly, the knowledge is shared and thought. So Calixto, dude, or Cali Xto. Let me say this, guys. Decentralized science is the fastest evolving crypto industry and sector that exists out there. Okay. And anybody that follows me, guys, in chat, let me know if like Johnny G, Mike, AVAC, any of the OG premium members. I think Johnny, I don't know if that you changed your name, Johnny, but guys, my Discord and my community, like the people that have been here for like 2 years, they watched me first talk about this a year and a half ago when there was one crypto on the market. There was one crypto on the market. Now there is dozens. I don't even think I have all of them on this list. So when we talk about fast emerging industries, the reason why you don't see me making videos on this is the next hidden gem is I learned, guys, I have 500,000 followers today. I can't make a video on VXV or VitaDAO or these projects and just like, I'm not going to do that and pump the project. If I make a video on these, I want to be interviewing their CEO or doing something where you guys actually learn this industry because I want it to grow naturally. If you got to be very cautious on this industry. But if you look at like the actual growth and investments, we've seen dozens and dozens and dozens of millions of dollars now come into this industry. And I think by 2024 and 2025, we will probably see a multi-billion-dollar sector by 2025. I think we're going to see injections of $40 million, $100 million into biotech labs and stuff that are funded by these DAOs. And it's a matter of time. I just spoke to Rejuve.ai, Dr. Kennedy. She is phenomenal. She's studying she's focusing on longevity, and she's using fruit flies, which she's expanded their lifespan from 5 weeks to 30 weeks over the last few decades with her mentor. And they're now using artificial intelligence and blockchain to analyze and scale the hidden relationships and discovery between human genomes and fruit flies, because it's about a 60 to 70% correlation in terms of that DNA. And so I know that's crazy to think about. I would love to like fly out to that lab, show you guys in real time what they're researching, the research on site, how they're going about these discoveries, and then utilizing crypto to make these things happen. Like, I think we're 10 years away from, guys. We're probably 10 years or less from DeSci being one of the main reasons why 90-year-olds feel like they're 30-year-olds, right? Why 80-year-olds can, no longer have to battle with Alzheimer's. My goodness, can't speak. But it's coming. It's coming. One thing is, sure, I've learned too many from you in that. Yeah, let's go, Johnny. Let's go. Yeah, DeSci, I really believe is going to be massive. Happy that I finally caught a live of yours speaking nothing but the truth. Dude, appreciate you, man. Much love. Currently suing the Biden administration, DOJ, USDA, and banking institutions for illegal foreclosure on farmers. That's amazing, Jillian. Jillian, are you involved with any like lawsuits specifically towards pesticides? And what I would love to sue the government for is their climate change agenda. I think hard right individuals that think climate change doesn't exist are just down conspiracy lane, and I don't know what they're fucking focusing on. And then far left have propagandized climate change to incentivize carbon credits and profit hundreds and billions and trillions of dollars off of climate change. I would say the hoax around it for decades, when the truth is companies like Monsanto have came in and completely obliterated our soil, which is a massive obviously CO2 converter for our world and our local climates. And that's because of Monsanto and these greedy agriculture centralized companies and Bill Gates pushing out farmers. So I'm interested in knowing if you guys are suing anything in the carbon credits markets, because like Vera having like 50 to 60% of the carbon credits are literally just scams and phantom credits. And they're the largest auditing firm for carbon credits. It's disgusting. It's true. I would really love to make it. I wish I could make a difference in that industry. I really could. The least I can do is talk about it, which is what I talk about. Don't you mean Bauer, Monsanto? I mean, like any Monsanto's converted many different times because of the backlash they've faced over the years. Is it Bayer or Bauer? It's Monsanto. It's Monsanto. Isn't that who they were sold to, or they changed their name to? Where do you buy that crypto poster? That was on Etsy. Publishing can take a long. Can't wait to see a hot 80-year-old hoochie mama. Okay, that's not necessarily what's gonna happen. I mean, maybe, but you'll still die around 5 years old. We're gonna live longer. It doesn't mean you're not gonna die. It just means you're gonna live healthier till your death. So when you're 90 years old, you're not like you can still drive, you have good eyesight, and you can go on walks, and you can, you're not broken is what longevity is focusing on. I still think we're decades and decades away from seeing a hot 90-year-old. Yeah. No, fake plant wall. I live in Florida, dude. The humidity would make that there'd be so much mold in my house. No, I have written on the regulation of poultry manure in Arkansas back in 2006, published in Drake Law. Wow. That's awesome. Publishing can take a long, long time. So if blockchain smart contract technology can speed that up, that would be awesome. I've co-authored and it could take a while. That's a huge part of blockchain, especially in the decentralized science sector. Logger is decentralization of the publishing outlook, and using artificial intelligence to help things like peer-reviewed articles filter out the non-needed publishing. I think you're talking about, I don't know if you're talking about publishing like PubMed articles or anything in the science sector, but the structure around the pharmaceutical company and a lot of the publications from the science sector, and this is coming from like direct CEOs and scientists, people like that I've spoken to, is the fact that a lot of your peer-reviewed articles that the scientists, when trying to, come up with the discovery and need information and need data points, they have to filter out like thousands and thousands of articles that were just uploaded because it was for a degree or for, advancement in someone's career. And it may not be, maybe misinformation or just nothing added to their current amount of knowledge. Always love your knowledge. I'll support you here. Do appreciate you. Much love to you guys. Just watch Changing World Order series. Thanks a lot. Hey, anytime, man. That's a great. I really recommend you buy the book too, brother. And if you watch the Changing World series, so you got the book right here. I always recommend you guys read The End of the World is Just the Beginning, or The End of the Beginning is, The End of the World is Just the Beginning, by Peter Zeihan. The reason for that is because even though people go, oh, Peter Zeihan's, he's controversial, he's wrong. One, the dude's made some crazy predictions. But two, it's a direct argument against the United States losing to China. And so, when you guys do watch these videos from economists, understand economists generally are very biased in their analysis. And a lot of these economists have written their own books. And so sometimes selling their own books relies on the downfall of an empire, or the downfall of a certain currency, or the downfall or the rise in gold, right? Like Peter Schiff, he's written 12 books about the Great Depression and how you need to buy gold, and he's been wrong for 14 years. So it's very important to have multiple perspectives and become a sponge and kind of like, just have an open mind whenever you're reading or listening to economists. Like for anything I say, guys, you should go double back on, and, everything I usually spiel, I can back with like some data point, some driven economic, outlook or peer-reviewed article, but you should question everything. Trust nothing, question everything. You know how it goes. What do you do for work? This is my full-time job now, brother. I've been in crypto since 2019. In 2021, I started taking it full-time. Started my own media company, marketing agency, ran a massive KOL group for hundreds of influencers on a global scale, from Southeast Asia to, Latin America, just everywhere. And I've been a part of 50 plus ICOs. So I've just learned a lot from seeing how money moves in this space, from taking an idea to literally getting funding and launching on an exchange. And fortunately, having my audience and reach, I've been invited to so many conventions. I've sat down and interviewed dozens and dozens, if not hundreds at this point, of CEOs and scientists and data engineers. And so I kind of just, over the years, gotten stronger and stronger in this industry. And now I literally am full-time off monetization through my own stuff, public speaking. I travel all across the US and speak all the time at conventions for just crypto education. I've done a ton of consulting and advising on projects. And I've helped a lot of projects even actually just help with their social media brands. So what else we got here, guys? Thank you for the follows. Suggest one of them, please. Which one should I read first? Oh, gotcha. So you should read... Good question. Should you read first? I would read this first. I would read Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins first, because that's going to give you an analysis on both how the United States and China, the two world's largest GDPs, suppress nations, and attack nations through things like the New Development Bank or the World Bank, and are essentially loan sharks. Because that will automatically give you like a bad taste for both countries, which is a good thing. I'm very pro-American, pro-US dollar, but understanding how you're, why you should be pro-US dollar is not pretty. Then I would read The Changing World Order, and then I would read Peter Zion's The End of the World is Just Beginning. If you already watched, though, the 45-minute series on this on YouTube, just read this, okay? And then read this again. But just already going with a second outlook is what I look at. I'm 26 years old. So, yes, and I'm currently going through selling my first company, going through my first acquisition, which is really cool. I am licensed in Wyoming, and it is leading state in crypto. It is also great because of the NE section that... Wait, what's the NE section? I'm spacing out on that abbreviation. I am licensed in Wyoming, and it is a leading state in crypto. It is also great because the section of the state is mineral rich, or northeast, stupid. There we go. Boom, there we go. Northeast section of the state is mineral rich, but there are a lot of abandoned mining facilities that can be used for mining. So Jillian, something I'm a huge advocate for is actually all those like coal mines and a lot of like pollution that comes from the production of natural resources and minerals is utilizing and capturing through power generators the conversion of that CO2 emissions created and converting that into Bitcoin miners. And I'm trying to do that in the state of Florida, but I need a lot bigger audience and connections, which I do believe I'll get to. Confessions of an Economic Hitman. And Chia, I know you just take a screenshot and reverse the image. But ultimately, guys, I do have a 4-part series. They removed the last part won't upload, and I think it's because it's completely against China. Is probably why it won't upload. It goes in depth on their policies. So I only have like 3 or 4 parts on that. I'm going to try to upload it one more time here in a week. I've just spent 8 hours already trying to edit those video for you guys, and now it's like just cutting into I can't afford to do it. I need to make more content, etc. But I will be doing a part 4 on there and trying to mitigate it and uploading for that. But I have I'm trying to storybook. So the next book I'm going to do, guys, is the End of the World, The Changing World Order. And I'm storybook because a lot of people don't like reading. Reading's the best thing you can do. I think everybody should be forced to read 2 books a month. I wish I started when I was 19 and not 22. You should. I'm going to be storybooking them. So if you don't like listening or podcasting or anything, you'll still be able to come to my TikTok and at least get a storyboard of books and understand what's in the book. But so anyways, guys, we are on the map. We're over the hour mark. So I do have to get out some content here today. I got to get my next CRU Plus video out. If you guys haven't already, guys, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Much love to you guys. Thank you for the likes, the comments. You guys have been absolutely amazing today. I do have my other show, guys, on CRU Plus. The link is in the description of the video, and the link is in the bio on TikTok. If you haven't watched any of these videos yet, these are some of the best videos I've ever made. They have a full-time video editor for me. I got both my commodities-based video on how Bitcoin could reach $657,000 within the next decade if it follows the decadal bull run of commodities. And I go through an amazing analysis there. And then we have the recent one of uncovering the corruption in between Ethereum and China and the CCP funding the network, and just having an open mind and perspective on the crypto industry, guys. So that will be here. How do I send you the book? Jillian, I will message you my P.O. box on TikTok. I will have to get back to you after the stream here for you. I do see the message on TikTok, so I won't miss it. I promise I will get it to you. Do you ever get sponsored for promoting some crypto? I haven't been in a long time. Fortunately enough, I have a large enough audience, so I don't need to take sponsors as much. But if I ever do, Jean-Pierre, the only ones that were this year was XCAD's NFT and Arculus, which is a hardware wallet company. It always is disclosed. I run the paid advertisement campaign, so it literally says paid advertisement and sponsor. I'm always advocating for doing your own research. And, unfortunately, as a content creator, sometimes I do have to take promotions. I am trying to veer away from it as much as possible. If we got all 100 people on TikTok that are watching TikTok right now, and they all came to YouTube and watched the YouTube channel, and we monetize YouTube, I would never need to take sponsors. So, we are progressing towards that. YouTube does pay a little bit better in terms of monetization. So if you guys want to support me and get us completely off that in the future, you know, just come over to the YouTube channel, and, you know, much love to you guys for that. Appreciate you guys so much for all of the subscriptions, the likes, the comments, and everything, guys. So much love, Socio, Jillian, Wazim, everybody on YouTube. We had Evan in here, Linz, Johnny, you know, True Dukel, Unknown. Guys, thank you for being in the YouTube chat. Thank you for watching today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern.